right, so today we are going to be looking at Morning Talk because I know some of y'all had some trouble with this. It's kind of a weird poem, and it's a little bit different than Immigrant Picnic. So I wanted to record a video of my close reading so you would have that in case you want to use this poem in your final project for the unit. Okay, so this is Morning Talk by Roberta Hill Whiteman. Roberta, I like saying her name. Hi, Guy, said I, to a robin perched on a pole in the middle of the garden. Pink and yellow firecracker zinnias, rough and green leaves of broccoli, and deep red tomatoes on dying stems frame his still presence. Okay, so far, what we have is a man in a garden with a robin, right? So we have two characters. We have a narrator, a man that's speaking, and then a robin. And they're in a pretty little garden, right? They're pink and yellow firecracker zinnias, rough and green leaves of broccoli, and deep red tomatoes on dying stems. His frame... Oh, okay, sorry, I read that wrong. On dying stems frame his still presence. So his still presence meaning the robin, right? So if I were doing this, and do not be frustrated if you pick to do either the robin or the narrator. I think I actually told people to do that because I didn't want you to be confused. But how I am going to do it is I'm going to color code. So I'm going to do red for the robin, blue for the narrator. So I'll just put that in this box. That's not how you spell that. Narrator. And we don't really learn much about the narrator in this. We know he's in a garden. So I'm going to write, this isn't a character trait, but I'm just going to write it here. Narrator is in a garden talking to a robin. So we might say he is crazy, possibly, for talking to a robin. But after reading the whole poem, one could consider that there's a metaphor behind this whole conversation. So we'll come back to that thought. All right, so narrator is in a garden talking. One might say he's crazy for talking to a robin, right? All right, the robin is sitting among the flowers, and he is still. We could probably pull a character trait from that, but I'm not going to worry about it. I've heard you're not the real robin. Bird watchers have agreed, I said. The real robin lives in England. They claim you are misnamed and that we ought to call you a red-breasted thrush because you are indigenous. Okay, here in this particular stanza, we have our that didn't work. We have our narrator, and he is patronizing. That's not spelled correctly. Sorry, friends. He is patronizing the robin, making fun of him. He is rude. And this is indirectly stated, right? Through his actions, through his speech. He's saying, you're not the real robin. You should be called the red-breasted thrush because you are indigenous. And he's saying that as if it's a bad thing. Is it a bad thing to be indigenous? I didn't really think so. So we are learning. So far, the bird's just sitting there. It's quiet, right? And all we really learn about him is that it's indigenous. So we know the robin is indigenous, meaning he was born there. And this is directly stated. Let's keep checking. He puffed up, meaning the bird. He puffed up. I am not. Oh, am I not Jiskako? He cried. That persistent warrior who carries warmth northward every spring? He seems so young, his red belly bit alight, and his wings still faded brown. He watched me untangling the hose to water the squash. All right, so we're not really learning anything new about our narrator, but now our robin is talking. So the robin speaks and seems easily offended, right? Because he, quote, fluffed. Oh, I missed. Oh, he fluffed up. So that's like an angry bird, and their feathers go. Whoa! Here, let me find a picture. Oh, well, I couldn't find a picture I liked, so it's okay. All right, so he's easily offended. We know because it says he fluffed up, and that is indirectly stated. He is also seemingly very cocky. So if you're cocky, you think a lot of yourself, right? And we can know that because it says that persistent warrior that carries warmth northward every spring. I mean, come on, dude, you're just a bird. Like you just fly. You're not really a warrior. But anyway, that's indirectly showing that he's pretty cocky. Okay. Look who's talking, he chirruped. Fun fact. And I had to look this up because I didn't know. The word for a robin's chirp. Why does this need to have a different word? All right, so chirruped is what you say when you hear a robin chirping, apparently. I don't know why that needs to have a separate word, but whatever. All right, so look who's talking, he chirruped. Your people didn't come from Europe or even India. The turtles say you're a relative of the red clay on this great island. Drops of crystal water sparkled on the squash. Okay. So suddenly we have this turtle. And so we've got a robin talking to a turtle, and you're just like, okay, what in the world is going on in this poem, right? You're very frustrated. You're just like, I'm done with this. So when you say, I want to just strip away the fact that we're talking about a robin and a turtle and all this crazy stuff and just think about what he's saying. So your people didn't come from Europe or even India. The turtles say you're a relative to the red clay of this great island. So we're learning here that the narrator, too, is indigenous to the land. Wow, okay. And so therefore, he is kind of hypocritical. Y'all, I promise I can spell. It gets even worse. Well, not the best speller, but it gets even worse when I'm filming. Okay, so therefore he's kind of hypocritical. If he is indigenous and he essentially is being disrespectful to other indigenous things and talking about how that's not a good thing to be indigenous. So we're looking at this poem and we see all of the things about Indigenous versus not Indigenous and all this good stuff. And then the bird sort of squawks, "Indigenous," he teased as he flew by. So suddenly the bird gets up. It's been very still. It gets up and it flies away. And essentially, it's just important to look at the perception of Indigenous in the poem. So why does it matter? Why is there such a deeply entrenched distaste for the Indigenous people in these two characters? And is that even there? Is it really a distaste? What is going on? And so that's for y'all to think about. That's what you have to sort of choose for yourself and interpret for yourself. And do we think our narrator actually is crazy? What do we think? Why do we think it's significant? And that's where I'm going to leave you, because sometimes y'all have to come up with your own answers. And those are questions I can only answer for myself, not for you. So y'all think about that. What does the poem really mean? Why is it significant? Is it good or bad to be an Indigenous people? And if it's bad, why is it bad? Is our narrator crazy? Or does he have something very big to say? Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all are doing well.